Hey folks, it's me, Marcel, from Lessons with Marcel, and you're watching The Root. The Root is a series right here on YouTube where experienced pickers can learn more about traditional music, and pickers that are new to the genre can learn how to jam with other people. Today, we're talking about finding jams and what to expect at the different kinds of jams. So before we even talk about finding a jam to go to, we have to know what we're looking for because there are different kinds of jams and there are some specific genre-based differences that I want to clear up for any beginners out there. First off, you probably want to make the distinction of if you're looking for a bluegrass jam or an old-time jam. Now, I'm going to say this in the simplest way possible that's probably going to get a lot of people very angry. So at a bluegrass jam, normally songs are called by each person around the circle in succession, and the songs are structured in such a way that there's a moment for an individual solo or break that any person in the circle can take. At an old-time jam, you're more likely to see a fiddle player or fiddle players, plural, take the role of jam leader, and everyone else is more of a rhythmic foundation instrument. So you can probably already tell that old time is about the community playing together. There's no improvisation. You're really playing traditional dance music. Bluegrass is a much more modern evolution, so it tends to be more individualistic, and that's why we have the breaks, that personal moment of what do you think. And the music has been sped up to not really be danceable. You know, it almost shares more in common with jazz in some aspects. The good news is there aren't any traditional music police, at least not officially anyway, so there's no reason why you can't enjoy both of the genres and get something out of both experiences. Now, in terms of types of jams, whether we're talking about bluegrass or old time, if you're a new picker, you probably want to look for what's called a slow jam or a learning jam. These jams are normally very structured and they cater towards beginners, so the house rules of an individual jam may vary, but you can expect things like tunes played at a slower pace, jam leaders that are willing to slow down, teach chord changes, teach melody. They may have a standardized way that they always start tunes or end tunes. And some slow jams even have a mailer that goes out, like an email that says, hey, we're going to work on these tunes next time we get together. And that's actually kind of nice. That means you can prepare for the next session and you can know all of the necessary tunes. Lastly, these slow jams can be a bit of a mix between bluegrass and old time, maybe classic country. Everyone there is still learning basic jam skills, so it's a little less rooted in tradition and it's a little more about just getting used to playing with other people. Now, the average public bluegrass or old time jam or festival jam will assume that you already know the rules. You know how to kick off a tune, you know how to tag a tune, you know all of the standards. If you're playing bluegrass, you know how to give away breaks to different people if you're leading the song. And these are the jams that you'd find at like local churches or restaurants or bars or event spaces, what have you. For most people, these jams are essential to their musical growth in traditional music. So you'll find yourself in these difficult situations. Maybe a player that's super talented blows your mind in all the great ways. Sometimes you'll end up playing with players that blow your mind in all the wrong ways. And being a positive jam contributor throughout all those different circumstances is really important, not only musically, but socially. You really want to be a positive force. Some honorable mentions of jam types that I'll just toss on the end here are a song circle or maybe a songwriter's round. Now, I consider a song circle more like a campfire kind of sing-along attitude. Anyone can bring a song, let's all play it together. They might even have some chord charts, very friendly atmosphere that has possibly nothing to do with any traditional music. A songwriter's round isn't very popular outside of Nashville, but it is something that you see sometimes. It's basically a bunch of songwriters possibly sitting in a circle or sitting in a row on stage, and they just sing a song that they wrote, and if someone else knows it, maybe they'll join in. That's not super common, but it does happen. And then at the end of the performance, maybe they'll get some honest feedback, maybe some criticism, especially if it's not on stage. And those are very interesting too. If you can find them in your area and you're into either sharing songs with people or writing your own songs, you might enjoy one of those two kinds of jams as well. So if any of that sounded good to you, the writer's round, song circle, bluegrass jam, old time jam, public jam, festival jam, private jam, strawberry jam, grape jelly, we now have to do a little bit of research so we can find those things in our area. And before we continue this talk, I teach a lot of international Skype students. So if you think, hey, I really I can't find a bluegrass jam here in Stockholm or wherever. Don't worry, I am going to talk to you at the end specifically, so there's something for you. Just hang in there. So, of course, the first thing you might try is Google. You type in old time jam in the name of your city and you see what comes up. If you get some hints, great, go to the jam, see if it's good. Now, if you don't get anything back, that doesn't mean there isn't a jam scene in your area. There still could be a jam scene, okay? And for some reason, this is where everyone stops. They do like one Google search and there's like, I don't have anything in my area. Don't do that. Keep looking. There's definitely more. Now, the next thing you might try is actually Facebook. I know not everyone is on Facebook, and that's okay if you're not. There's still other things I'm going to talk about. But Facebook has a large amount of regional groups that advertise private and public jams, which is excellent for us. When I was playing bluegrass in Washington State, I belonged to a bunch of groups that were like Pacific Northwest Bluegrass Jams or Seattle Bluegrass Club. Don't be afraid to type in whatever search terms might make sense for your area, along with bluegrass or old time, whatever it is you're interested in. When you find that group, ask to join. Do it. Get in there. Type a comment that says, hey, I'm new to this area. I'm into old time banjo. I'm into bluegrass fiddle. I just need to get my foot in the door. Anyone know where a good jam is? That's fine. Everyone's going to welcome you. But still, what if you have no luck on Facebook? Where are we going to try now? So there's this little thing called real life that I've been getting into. Apparently you can walk out the front door of your house and you can see other human beings and interact. It's supposed to be like the best video game there is. You should check out music stores. If there's a local jam that isn't being advertised anywhere online, it's probably being advertised at a music store on a flyer. Old school, baby. Maybe your local shop even hosts a jam. The guitar shop that's like 5 minutes from my house, they host a bluegrass jam, and I didn't know that for like a year. I need to spend more time in real life. You should also go to local gigs to meet people, and this is one of my favorite moves if I'm in a new area. Look for the bluegrass show, the old time show that's coming up. People who are already in the scene or looking to get into the scene like yourself are also going to be at those shows, and it's a great way to make friends. And that kind of information, it goes double for festivals. If you plan to travel to like a bluegrass festival or an old time festival, you're going to find jamming. The event even may host like a slow jam on a certain day somewhere. Check it out. I think we all know where this is going though. I'm still going to get a comment here on this video. Someone's going to get all the way through this video and they're going to say, Marcel, I know what kind of jam I want to go to, but I can't find anything on Google. I can't find anything on Facebook. There's nothing at the music stores. There's no gigs in my area. And the closest, traditional music festival is 100 miles away. What do I do? And I'll tell you what to do because I've done it before. You start your own jam. And this actually happened to me in a town that I lived in. I was dissatisfied with the local jam scene, so I created my own jam, and I just sort of waited for people to show up. Of course, I contacted everyone I knew, but hopefully word would spread and I would meet new people that were now coming to this event that I would host. And I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my musical life. Not only did I meet lots of people, was it a great learning experience, but all the tunes that they would call were things that I hadn't heard before because I was also pretty new to the genre. What a smart way to learn it's like immersion, language immersion, right? Moving to a new country and just forcing yourself to learn the language. It's very smart to start your own jam. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, I'm not really the person to do this. I'm not going to start my own jam. You can be, though. All you need to do is find a venue, find some kind of community space, and you can advertise it as a slow jam, as a learning jam, and say that you're looking for like-minded beginners that want to get into the genre of bluegrass or old time or this or that. And you can bring these people in and teach them what you already know, and maybe they already know things and they can teach you, and you can start out playing these simple songs like Soldier's Joy, Old Joe Clark, Angeline the Baker, all great places to start to create your own jam. Become the change that you want to see in the world. Things may have gotten a little bit too inspirational there for a moment. Big thanks to The Root for having me here to talk about fantastic jams and where to find them. If you're interested in bluegrass guitar and you want maybe just a little bit more playing and a little bit less talking, you should check out Lessons with Marcel right here on YouTube. That's where I teach people all about bluegrass guitar. And if you do enjoy what The Root is doing here, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. And if you have any ideas for future video topics, why don't you write a comment? Leave them down below. I'm sure they'd really appreciate that. Let's see what we're going to cover next. All right, y'all have a nice day.